Instead of an administration working to advance America's highest ideals, we are witnessing the wholesale abandonment of those ideals.
Kamala Harris gave her first major public speech since the 2024 election last night, and it was incredible. It was joyful. It was powerful. It was exactly what we needed in this moment.
Kamala Harris just said, "What about Trump?" Well, Karoline Leavitt isn't having any of it. She just went full political WWE and dropped the MIC on national TV. You won't believe how fast she clapped back. Is this the most savage Trump defense of 2025? Probably stick around, because this showdown gets wild, and yes, there's popcorn involved. Kamala Harris took a verbal flamethrower to Donald Trump's Greatest Hits of Incompetence tour. And this time, she did it with such surgical precision, it caused none other than Caroline Trump's press release in Heels Leavitt to combust into a volcanic eruption of mega fury. Yes, Caroline, bless her obedient little heart, flew to Trump's defense like a loyal to trained falcon screeching into the political void like she just found out Nordstrom cancelled the Ivanka Trump shoe line again. And what exactly did Kamala Harris say that caused such a mega meltdown? Something so heinous, so outrageously scandalous, it shook the very foundations of Trump Tower's gold-plated bathtubs. She told the truth. Yes, that was it. Kamala Harris, the vice president, opened her mouth and let out a few honest words about Trump's disastrous first 100 days in office, and boom, Karoline Leavitt went full DEFCON 1. Apparently telling the truth about Trump now qualifies as an act of war in MAGAville. It's almost like mega. The world can't handle basic facts.
And what we are also seeing in these last 14 weeks is Americans using their voice and showing their courage.
Especially when those facts have the audacity. Kamala dared to mention how the Trump administration managed to confuse a raccoon trying to operate a nuclear reactor. You remember that era, the daily press briefings that felt like a mix between a hostage video and a failed open MIC night, where Trump would stand there blinking into the sun suggesting things that sounded more like pranks from Jackass than medical advice. The administration's strategy, if you could call it that, was basically to deny, distract, and hope the Americans got high inflation. If you're enjoying it, please subscribe. Kamala, ever the master of truth bombshells, didn't hold back when she compared Trump's administration to a reverse Midas touch. Everything they touched seemed to turn into pure chaos. The economy absolutely tanked like a sinking ship that nobody bothered to bail out. International relations reduced to awkward photo ops with dictators, like some bizarre political version of Behind the Music. And let's not forget the love letters to North Korea that was somehow supposed to make us all feel safer. As for climate policy, Trump's idea of conservation was slapping a paper straw into a Diet Coke, all while sipping it from a styrofoam cup. Genius. Remember that fever dream where Trump fell in love with a dictator? Yes, literal words. He practically cooped at the world stage like a deranged Disney villain. Meanwhile, Caroline defends all this like it's some avant-garde performance art. It was diplomacy, she insists, as if writing fan fiction to Kim Jong-un was a masterclass in international strategy. Kamala also had the audacity to point out, that little hiccup in democracy where Trump supporters stormed like they were headed to a medieval LARP convention, all while Trump watched it unfold on TV like it was his personal Super Bowl. But according to Caroline, that wasn't Trump's fault. It was obviously the fault of media narratives, deep state agents, and possibly the ghost of George Washington whispering dissent through the. To be fair, defending Trump in 2025 is an exhausting full-time job with no benefits, minimal dignity, and the constant threat of being thrown under the bus the moment he gets bored. Caroline is essentially the political version of someone
One person, when a few stand with the courage That is the courage exhibited by the leaders in this room every day. To stand, to have the courage to say, I feel fear. The courage to say what is happening is wrong. The courage to say that there is a way that we must chart to get through this. Understanding.
Following a billionaire around picking up after his emotional support ferret. She's out here cleaning up the mess with a smile, pretending like everything's fine, while Kamala stands off to the side holding up a giant mirror and saying, "You see this, right?" But oh no, acknowledging the truth about Trump's presidency is now considered an attack on democracy, according to Karoline. Which is truly ironic considering her boss once asked the Secretary of State to find acceptance votes like it was a lost sock in the dryer. Kamala calling out incompetence isn't undemocratic. It's literally what democracy is. It's accountability. It's saying, hey, maybe the president shouldn't treat the nuclear codes like a novelty item. Kamala's critique wasn't exactly a roast as much as it was a public service announcement about reality. Watching her respond felt like seeing a well-informed librarian patiently explain to a kindergartner why eating glue isn't going to help them grow taller. It was the kind of calm, educational tone you'd expect if someone were gently guiding a toddler away from a traffic jam made of their own poor life choices. Kamala didn't shout, didn't raise her voice, didn't flinch when Karoline inevitably flailed about in denial. It was more like a here's why you're wrong and here's why you should think about it for a few decades situation, complete with a reassuring smile that said, I'll see you at the next election, but I'm still right. Then there was Karoline's response, which was pure performance art. A swirling, chaotic display of rage, denial, and unsolicited press statements picture a tornado of frustration spinning out of control, but with a perky voice that sounded like it was specifically trained by a fox.
We all know President Trump and his administration and their allies are counting on the notion that fear can be contagious. They are counting on the notion that if they make some people afraid, it will have a
Fox News producer with a background in high-energy aerobics and a motivational speaker whose face had been expertly Botoxed to perfection. The energy she exuded was like an enthusiastic toddler determined to argue with a brick wall. She wasn't just responding to Kamala. She was auditioning for a role in the next season of How to Make Political Drama an Olympic Sport. You could practically see her mental gymnastics as she contorted every word into a personal affront. In her world, Kamala wasn't simply offering a well-thought-out critique. She was launching an unprovoked attack on Karoline's very existence. And let's be real here. Even if Kamala had taken the high road and tried to be polite, say by saying Trump tried his best, which, let's be honest, sounds like something Kamala would say just to avoid escalating things, Karoline would have found a way to be offended. She could have heard Kamala say Trump was the best at trying, and Karoline would have still been like, well, if that's not a direct insult to everything that's pure and good in this country, then I don't know what is. Karoline's commitment to outrage is unmatched. It's a loyalty to anger that would put even the most devoted fan of reality television to shame.